everybody. Welcome back to an episode of Behind the Cards. My name is Bobby from Wild Raven Tarot. Nice to meet you. For those who are joining us for the first time, Behind the Cards is a segment that I do on my show, my channel, where I interview people in the spiritual community about their story. Everybody in the world has a story, and I'm fascinated by people's backstories. I want to know how they came to where they are now. It's incredible because we find out how similar to each other we are and how different at the same time. Today, I'm being joined by SunPsychic Jean. How are you today, my love?
I'm very well. Thank you very much. I'm very excited about the show, and thank you very much for inviting me.
I'm like I said before, I'm honored you're here. People are starting to trickle in now that they're getting the alerts. Imelda has joined us. Ann Iva, how you doing, my love? Joanne Miranda. I can't say Joanne Miranda. I have to say Joanne Miranda every time I see her. It's just a thing.
Beautiful
Thea,
name. Mhm.
yeah. Julianne, hey, how you doing? Jem. Oh my gosh, what a great name. That reminds me of the 90s, Jem and the Holograms. Chris W. Play Love Remember. Hey, haven't seen you in a while. Sonia, Sandra, Millie. How you doing, Millie? I just saw you the other night. Joan Miranda. I'm never gonna get used to saying that. It just brings a smile to my heart every time. Um, we are simulcasting on both channels. I yeah. I just want to make sure I'm not being rude, not saying hi to anybody. Um, so let's chit chat for a second while we give people a chance to trickle in. I was watching a show you just finished. Can you want to tell us about the show you just did?
Yes, I was on with Earth to Marissa. She's a podcaster who I was listening to. And, when you're either cooking or doing chores, and I was listening to her, and she said, if anybody wants to come on the show and share what they do. And I popped up and I looked over and I'm like, is she talking to me? Like it was something I was already thinking about. So I'm like, so I contacted her and I put a DM and I said, you invited people and I would like to, and you would not believe how similar and how it just organic and how beautiful that we just collaborate together. It was like it was very spirit driven. And so we were talking about the ascension, and I told her, I said, I want to talk about the kindergarten portion, how we get from 3D to 5D, going through that human evolution, going through that awareness. It was really just inspirational and phenomenal. I really love to collaborate with Marissa.
It really was. I only caught the last 15 minutes of it because I was getting ready for this broadcast, but beautiful. The other thing heard on that, normally I ask this at the end, but I was so excited about it. Um, you have upcoming classes coming up on a topic that I really enjoy, chakras. You want to tell us about that real quick?
Sure, sure. I'll pop this up and connect. We can do that. I have a a chakra healing workshop. And what we're going to do is we're going to be able to learn about the chakras and to learn about how we heal the chakras and then experience going through the healing all together. And then, most importantly, we are going to be able to ask questions at the end. And it's going to be an interactive type of workshop. You can sit there and listen and receive and not ask any questions, or you can be collaborative and ask questions and share what you felt or saw or understand. It's really a beautiful opportunity. It's a 2 hour workshop, and it's on Saturday, May 31st, 12 Pacific, 3 Eastern, and it's $25 per person. And Terry from Holding Your Space will be facilitating with me. She's going to be my wing person.
Say that somebody wanted to get in touch with you. Would they go through your website here?
Yes, it's sunpsychicgene.com/contact. And I also have this on my community page or post page. I have the link in there as well if you want to go to my YouTube and then go to the community. You know, they changed the name. It used to be called Community. Just when I got to understand the community page, they now call it the post page, but it's on there as well. But thank you very much for letting me share that, Bobby.
I think you do fantastic work online. You're what I call a messenger, and I will support other messengers any way I can. You have powerful things that you talk about, and now we're going to find out how it all started. What put Jean on her path? So, for those who have never seen the show, who may be simulcasting, Behind the Cards is based on the major arcana. The major arcana is split into 3 sections: the physical section, the mental section, and the spiritual section. We're going to be asking questions based on those cards to get a pretty good idea of who we're dealing with, what's going on here. Okay, yes, it does sound wonderful, and I'm excited. Before we start these questions, though, we had a question from Jem. Can you recommend a tarot class, and also how to protect self if empathic/psychic?
Okay, for me, do you want to take the first half and I can take the second half?
Sure. As far as a tarot class, in your area, I couldn't tell you. Online, I'm actually going to be starting online tarot classes that people can take. It'll be interactive, so you can ask questions. Once I get how the hell am I going to do that figured out, then we'll do it. But it should be starting in a couple months, at the beginning of July, I believe. So if you'd like, make sure you subscribe to my channel to get information on that. And as far as how to protect the self, if you're empathic or psychic, that's a great question. Jean, you want to tell them?
Yeah. I feel I'm trying to it's a trust and it's an intention. And it's a lot of people imagine that it would be like a defense, but it's really a trust and an intention. It's more of a allowing and this trust and this intention, and less of pushing away something. And with our intention, we often understand that we are powerful in our words, and that what we ask for and what we intend has a lot of empowerment to that. And if we intend every day that only the love and light vibration come around to teach me, to show me, and to interact with me, then that is what our intention is, and that's what we truly believe and trust, then this is what shall be. If you are empathic, it's important to have healthy boundaries and healthy, self-preservation, in the sense that when you feel your energy is sort of like when you're a people pleaser, or you're doing too much, or you're giving too much, and you feel that little unbalance, to pull back. It's about self-love too. So there's many different aspects to that question, but that's a really good question, and I'm going to remember that. I also do memberships, Bobby. I do channel memberships. I just started. And so that question about how to protect being an empath, we could really dive into in a members live. So I'm always looking for little inspirations. It's a really good question.
It really is a good question. As far as protection, I'm going to add to that if you could imagine it, that's how I protect myself. I used to imagine a wall. At times I've imagined fire if I feel there's cold energy coming at me. I've imagined bricks. I've imagined a wall of light. I even imagined a wall of sound one time, which is really hard to do. My favorite one is a mass of coils that are spiked, all writhing together around me. So anybody trying to come at me is just ground up. The intention, like you were saying, is very important. But remember, are you keeping something out and away, or are you keeping yourself locked in? Don't keep yourself locked in. That's something I just wanted to throw out there. Yeah, you guys, we are not doing readings today, unfortunately. Today we are learning about my guest. So there will be a chance for you guys to ask follow-up questions as we go. We're going to go ahead and start that now. Elizabeth, how you doing? She's going to be on my show tomorrow. The more intuitive me.
And thank you, Chris W., for the super sticker. That's so very generous.
Yes, these are appreciated. It goes to maintaining our channels and supporting our work. So anything like that is appreciated. All right. Are you ready, my friend? Here
I
we
am.
go. All right. Our first question deals with the Fool. The Fool is new beginnings, innocent, purity, adventure, and rebellion. Where did your story start in the spiritual community? How did this come about?
You know, I would have to say it's something I've always been interested in, and it's something that's always intrigued me and pulled my attention towards. And because of this awareness, and it's almost like whenever I would hear about a psychic or a medium or, a phenomena of some sort, it would almost be like I was remembering. It was like, yeah, I get that. It really resonated with me. I was sensitive around energy, and I would have to say feng shui would be the first time I ever tapped into something that was outside of myself to get to know what energy felt like. And then it all just transpired from there.
What energy are you more sensitive to, would you say?
Probably other people's, your vibration, my vibration, your loved one's vibration, the souls, the higher vibrational souls vibration, the ascended master's vibration, but soul vibration mostly, your pet's soul's vibration, and weather. I would have to say the earth and earth cycle vibrations. Yeah. That's a good question. I'm glad you asked that.
Yeah, because some people feel certain types of energy, but they don't feel other types of energy. I'm lucky to be able to feel other people's energy around me and places. The downside of that, I'm sure you felt it, and a lot of the people in chat have felt it. Walking into places like Walmart at Christmas time can be a nightmare. Yeah. Those type of situations really get to me. The Magician card is our next visitor. And the Magician deals with willpower, manifestation, creation, communication, and building something. The communication aspect of this is my favorite part because the Magician is ruled by Mercury. Was it difficult starting to tell the people around you that you had spiritual tendencies like this?
I call it, you know, my family and friends and people that were close to me growing up. And it's almost like you feel like you're an imposter because they knew you as one person. And now that you've been studying and practicing and working in a different type of persona, they're like, oh, well, who do you think you are? And I say that I have no street cred when I go back home. I live in Maryland, and I was from Pennsylvania. So whenever I go back home, I am not SunPsychic Jean, but here I'm more known as SunPsychic Jean. But so as far as the street cred, they say that you've always been this way, that it's just natural. Like I have had these tendencies and these just the trust and the belief in things unseen, and just interest in all of these unknown, that
Right.
unsolved mysteries. I mean, like I'm going back, like way back, like all these things would just fascinate me. And I would always watch them, like the Bermuda Triangle and, all this, everything that was unknown, everything that was a mystery. I was just so very much wanting to know, wanting to find out. And this curiosity in me is probably what led me to this point.
When you said that, it reminded me shows like what was it, In Search of with Leonard Nimoy. Those kind of shows I was raised with, and they made me want to look at the things that most people weren't looking at. You know, everybody was so focused over here. I wanted to know what's up with Bigfoot. That was the
Yep.
type of. How did ancient aliens affect mankind? These are the questions I wanted to learn about type situations. So yeah, I get what you're saying. The imposter syndrome. It is hard when you come out of the broom closet, so to speak, online and with my clients. I'm one thing, but when I get with my family, I'm not Bobby. It's it's a whole different thing. I'm not even that name. My family knows me by a different one. Um, we all have nicknames that we wish we didn't. Okay, so our next card is one of my favorites. We have the High Priestess, and she represents intuition, mystery, and the subconscious mind. Now, were you put off, nervous, scared when you first started feeling things? And when was the first time you started feeling those?
Mhm. I think I was more curious. I don't remember being well, I think that I did hear and know things that were unsettling or what would I call that? Startling. I would be startled, but and then curious. Um and and it's almost like fun when you're startled and then curious, and there's a little bit of fear, but it's momentary. It's what comes along with startling. But when I first connected, I was working with a solitaire, the card game solitaire, and you were
Yes.
working with numbers and colors and back and forth and organizing. And I was working with that, and then suddenly, not suddenly, but I, strangely, I was hearing sort of like confirming messages coming through in my own mind, like things go along to get along, be nice to each other, or what it's sort of like, very general sort of terms or advice or things like this that would come into my mind. And I thought, I said, I've been playing solitaire, and whenever I match like a certain number to a certain color, I get like a life lesson that, do unto others as they would have do unto you, or you get more bees with honey, or sort of things like really just very general. And I would like hear these things, and I'm like, do you ever? And the person I was sharing it with was like, oh my gosh, no, that's ridiculous. And I totally shut it down. But I realize now
Right.
that was the first time my spirit guides, because my spirit guides were talking to me. I want to finish my sentence, but it's because you're focusing on something mundane and repetitive, and you're keeping your ego or analytical mind busy, so that this part, the creative part that the colors stimulate, is, and that you're doing numbers, but you're also doing colors, and it allowed for that to open up
Right.
and relax enough that the spiritual messages were able to come through. So that's the first time I ever heard something like that.
Repetitive motion is some repetitive motion in water. When I do those things, I've said it before on my channel, washing dishes. If I'm not careful and I let my mind wander, I get messages that I didn't want to get, that I wasn't asking for. Uh, my mind will go. So that's why I'm trying to watch YouTube or something while I'm doing that type of repetitive. work, because yes, you're creating an environment where your senses will take over. I love that. That's fascinating. Our next card is the Empress, and she embodies fertility, beauty, and abundance. Um, what do you care most about?
Well, the first thing that came to mind is love and connection and sharing authenticity. And sort of living my truth, living in that high vibration utopia that I know is possible, that I know is our future, being here through the evolution, um, living the best human life as I possibly can, and trusting to being in the flow.
Trust. I love that. I really do love that. Um, our next card. Now, the opposite of, or the mate to the Empress is the Emperor, and he signifies authority, structure, and leadership. You've now been put, thanks to our YouTube tribe, they look to you as a mentor. They look to you as somebody for guidance. How do you structure things? I'm not quite sure how to ask this question. You do a lot. I watch your channel. I see your shows. I put you on like everybody else, and I work around the house and I'm hearing what's going on. Do you think I'm thinking three questions in my head at one time, and I'm trying to blend them into one question. Is it hard being an authoritative figure like that? I know we don't like to think of ourselves as authorities, but people tend to put us in that position, and I take that responsibility seriously, and I'm very conscious about it. Was it weird?
I would have to say I'm not always comfortable in the teacher role, but people say,
Yeah.
Jean, this is what you do all the time. You're the teacher. You teach and you share. And I like to be in the I like to call it more of like a way shower. And the more that we can be authentic, that we can, delve into our abilities and to practice them and to work with them and to demonstrate them, it demonstrates to everybody who's watching what's possible for them, that we are all one. No one soul is better or higher than the other. It's just your experience that you choose to live. And I, as a teacher and as a way shower, I am you and you are me. And I'm here demonstrating what it is possible for everybody. And there are other way showers and teachers for me to show me my way, my possibilities, what's possible. And I find that a lot in my classes when I teach, and then we go into a practice. And then when we come out of a practice, we share. And the unbelievable experiences that people share gives me a inspiration of what's possible, and it opens up my horizon. It opens up my awareness to what's possible, and it really is just so, it's just so beautiful. So I like to categorize myself a little bit more of like a way shower. And when you, not just me, when you are in your authenticity and you practice your best life, you give other people permission to see what's possible, to follow that in themselves as well.
I love that answer. Speaking of love, I had showed this to Jean before we started, but usually before I do a show, I'll pull a crystal to show me the energy I'm going to be dealing with type situation. The crystal I drew today was this little rose quartz heart. So I was excited to be full of love in this show. That's awesome. Now, you had mentioned teacher. We're at the
Mm.
Hierophant, and the Hierophant is about teaching tradition, spirituality. I didn't want to be a teacher. I was uncomfortable in the role. I didn't want that responsibility. That was the big thing for me, being responsible for somebody else's knowledge, knowing that they were going to take this, build on it, and pass it on in the future. I was afraid to taint the oil, so to speak, or taint the water with oil, so to speak. What do you find to be most rewarding about teaching and the biggest challenge?
Um, I learn. I learn when I teach. I learn so much when I teach. And the biggest challenge is maybe getting out of your own way and knowing that it doesn't have anything to do with me. It's about sharing my experience and trusting that those who uh, are in need of the information or the frequencies or the vibration that I'm sharing is what they need to continue on their path. And I always say, you don't have to be an expert in anything. You just have to
No.
teach what you know. And it doesn't mean what you've learned or what you've studied or what you perfected. It's just what you know. What do you know for sure today? And share that. And it's really important to share this authenticity, this vulnerability, this frequency, who is your divine self, and sharing that and teaching that. And it really is just share what you know for sure. um, and I'm not an expert in the chakra healing class. I'm sure there are people that know much more about chakras than I do, people who, but I feel I can teach, I can share, I can answer questions. And this is what I know, and this is what I feel confident in sharing. And this is what I'm guided and motivated and inspired to share. So you follow that guidance and that motivation and that inspiration.
I love that answer. It's very important to remember that we're dealing with people, and these are actual people with actual questions. So that's why I take that rule very seriously. And yes, play, love, remember. It is a Taurus card. Um, Taurus is fixed and immovable. That's why this card represents tradition. Um, it is a stubborn card. It is, and that's why a lot of people have trouble with that card. So we're going to move on to the Lover's card. And the Lover's card, I've got my microphone in front of me, symbolizes love, relationship, and choices. How have your relationships been affected by your spiritual beliefs?
Mm. Well, I've learned a lot more about myself and the self love, the self acceptance, the self forgiveness, the self healing. I did 3 years of shamanic energy healing, and I did that probably to heal myself, to get to understand why certain things are the way they are or the way they were, and to enable myself to let down all of my defenses and to allow forgiveness in. And by doing this, I came to a place where I could be of service for others because of what I've learned about myself. But in order for to love others, I feel it's really important to learn how to love yourself and to work through your own situations. Not that they don't come up again.
Mm.
And in my relationships, um, you know, it's not about the one. It's about the vibration. I feel as though we know who it is that we are attracting to be around us. And love comes in many different packages and sizes and many different relationships. Like family love or friendship love or romantic love. And with love comes betrayal and hurt and things like this. So but I have been extremely very lucky in love. Once I decided who I am and what I want to be, and that no matter what I do, I'm okay with me, and it enabled somebody else to love that part of me. So I'm I love, and I love talking about relationships, and but it is a really tender subject, because when we've been scorned, we don't want to put our foot out there again. We want to be protective of our ourself, but it's really important to move through that vulnerability and to go back out there and love. um, I did have a second chance, because I felt that one person's betrayal was sort of like a definition of the rest of my life. But once I worked through that and let that go and understood that that was not me, that was the other person's energy, I was able to move forward and to start again, because nobody else can define us except for ourselves, and that's love.
That is true. I, for the longest time, did not love myself. I loved everybody around me. I loved the world, but I did not love myself. It came as a great surprise to me one day when I realized that. So I set about getting to know me. I'm trying to
Mhm.
figure myself out. Uh, the lovers is a choice, you guys. Following the path of love is a choice. We may feel it, but whether to act on it is another thing. What drives you? We have the Chariot as our next question, and this represents determination, control, and willpower. I'm curious to see, you're a very spiritually driven person from what I see on YouTube. Um, what drives you? What motivates you?
I have a passion, and the passion is sort of like that, what we all the quest that all humans try and strive for, the uh, the knowing the unknown, and the curiosity, and to being all that we can be, and to search for all of the answers, and to find out all of the methods and the pathways to reach a self satisfaction, like a self contentment. It's not satisfaction, it's contentment, that contentment. And I have learned through connecting to the other side with my spirit guides, uh, high ascended masters, and your loved ones and your pets. I have felt what it feels like to have unconditional love on the other side come through me, to be expressed through me for you. And I have seen and understood the teachings that your loved ones teach for me to say to you. And it has changed me forever. Um, and with this connection that I have with loved ones on the other side, that it would never enter my awareness unless they shared it with me, has taught me so much that I know for sure what it is that I'm sharing, what it is that is possible, what it is that is important. It's I hope someday to have a compilation of all of the uh, expansion. It's soul expanding expansion from the information and the lessons that I've learned through um, helping others with their spirit guides and their loved ones, and the lessons that come through that teach me, that heal me, that open up myself, and wanting to share that with so many people who are searching for the same answers.
Love it. Jean, people are loving your answers to these questions.
Thank you, guys.
Um,
And it resonates with you. That's why. because it's
Yeah.
resonating with you.
That's why I say everybody has a story, and it's fascinating to see how we relate to each other, how similar our stories are, even though they're so different. Our next card is the Strength card, and the Strength card embodies courage, inner strength, and resilience. But also call this the Chakra card, though. On decks like Sasha Graham's Darkwood Tarot, they show a woman meditating with a serpent in front of her for the Kundalini energy. How did you first discover chakras?
Mm.
Do you remember?
I would probably say it was in my Reiki classes, if not before that. I mean, I'm sure I've heard of them, but when I was formally trained would be in my Reiki class. And my, the just the information on the internet or books. Yeah,
Let's talk
that's
about
where I
that
was
for a
interested.
second. Reiki energy. Reiki is one of the first starting places I did. You need to understand, in my opinion, let's quantify it this way. In my opinion, in order to do any spiritual work, any magical work, any work, mental work even, you need alignment in your energy centers, which are the chakras. So when we talk about balancing your chakras, cleansing your chakras, this is very, very important to your spiritual work. So please, I would suggest you guys check out Jean's upcoming chakra class. It's a must for any type of spiritual work. Learn your chakras. I'm not going to harp on it over and over, but I am going to harp on it over and over. Learn your chakras.
And it's
Uh,
lots of fun too.
It is. You learn about yourself through the chakras. And you guys, if you have Amazon Alexa, say, "Hey, Alexa, play me a guided chakra meditation." And they'll play you one by Sonic Yogi. It's about 15 minutes. I play it every night. It's so relaxing, so cleansing is the only word I could say for it. Yes, Selena is posting the link for Jean. If you are not subscribed to her, please subscribe to SunPsychic Jean. And if you are watching on Jean's channel, by all means, please subscribe to Wild Raven Tarot. We're going to go with the Hermit card. And the Hermit card symbolizes introspection, wisdom, and solitude. Solitude. What do you do in your alone time? How do you recharge?
I really,
You like
this is
time?
just me. I sleep a lot. I sleep a lot. I need a lot of sleep. And I do a ritual or a practice before I go to sleep because it takes me a little bit to unwind. And my least favorite thing to do is to fall asleep on the couch because then you have to wake yourself up to go to bed and to, do all the. So there's a time 1 hour before I want to be asleep or in bed, I go through a ritual, with the regular making my coffee, cleaning up the kitchen, putting everything away, getting things set up, getting, reminders for the next day. Taking my makeup off and cleansing and teeth brushing, the whole thing, and getting dressed, and then putting on my facial moisturizer. I really take that time it takes an entire hour, and that allows me to relax my mind, to focus on, me preparing myself for the sleep. And then I really do enjoy falling asleep after I'm relaxed. When you're not relaxed and you have to go to sleep and your mind is racing, it's really hard. So I make sure that I practice this. And this is, it only happens when you're older and you have a little bit more time and not chasing the kids. I know it's not possible for everybody.
Yeah, and if you doubt that, watch Care Bear Barter Cards. It's so funny when we'll be doing a show and then her kids will come walking through or screaming. It's
Oh,
adorable. I love her so much. Every month we do a show when the astrological season changes. So we'll be doing Cancer coming up. Oh, also, Essence of the Moon, Selena is posting SunPsychic Gene's link over here. Please subscribe. Also, speaking of Selena, Essence of the Moon, we just started a Behind the Moon Facebook page for our Behind the Moon tribe. So if you have show suggestions or comments, please, that's where you can let us know, you guys. Please follow the Facebook page for Behind the Moon. Our next card up is the Wheel. Natural cycles, change of luck. This is Jupiter energy. How do you handle change and
Not
growth?
very well. I crash and burn. I mean, but man, oh man, did it really wake me up, you know? I've had cycles, but I think that with my spiritual trajectory, it really came in when my first Saturn return. But my first 30 years were quite bumpy, and I remember I was fired from one of my most favorite jobs. I was worked for a chiropractor, and this chiropractor taught me so much, and I loved talking to all the people, and I loved the holistic energy around the atmosphere there, and the people that were coming in, and being able to be of service to people, and to have uh, community in this holistic type of field. And there was a certain belief that that you needed for your chiropractor in order for you to heal from the adjustments and the different suggestions and uh, therapies that he would recommend. And the chiropractor and I were like this. Like, he would say, "Gene, get me that," and I'd say, "I got it." Like, he didn't like, we just clicked. And I was actually fired from that job. And I was fired from that job by the office manager, who was jealous because of she didn't have that synchronicity with the doctor, because she was the office manager. It was a different vibration where I was more in sync with him. And she said that I wasn't doing something right, which I wasn't, but I was still doing it. But I didn't do it the way she taught. So, like, on a minor technicality, fired me. I said, "You're going to fire me?" And he says, "She wants you. She said you didn't do what she told you to do, and I have to go by what she said." And I said to him, I said, "Do you know you broke my spirit? Like, I had trust, I had connection, and I was just so distraught, so um, wounded and offended and hurt to such my I mean, I am very emotional and sensitive. So this was something that I had never saw, and I was like, my performance was wonderful, but because she pigeonholed me and said, "You do this way," and I'd be like, "I'll do it, but I'm going to do it the quickest, most efficient way, not the long way." That was it. So, um, working with cycles, it's difficult, but you know what? It taught me so much. It taught me about myself. It taught me to pick myself up and to keep moving forward. It taught me that nothing is forever. And the reason why I was fired back from that job is to start my next job and my next opportunity. And I would have never left. I would still be there today if she hadn't have done that. So things happen for a reason, and we learn and we pick ourselves up and we start again. And that's what some cycles are. Other cycles are wonderful.
Yeah, I recently lost a place also. Somewhere I was reading out of. The business itself wasn't doing great, but I was having a lot of people come in to see me. It's one day shit hit the fan, so to speak, and I knew where it was coming from, and I just said, "You know what? Fine, I'm out. Deuces." But same thing, it broke my spirit. It hurt my heart. I thought we had something different, but it wasn't surprising other readers at that place had gone through it. But of course, I thought I was going to be different. No, I could change. I could fix it. No. All right. So now we've got justice, which signifies balance, fairness, and truth. This is Libra energy. What I'm not sure whether to ask on what brings you balance or what puts you out of balance most. Let's go that route. What puts you out of balance most?
Triggering. If somebody were to, you know, do something that was not in alignment with my energy, it would trigger me and not force me, but cause me to fall into judgment, which is very. It's something that I'm practicing, being in allowance and letting go and trying not to have opinions or judgment about other people's life path or other people's actions, and to work on focusing on my action and surrounding myself with, things that support that. And when I'm sort of jarred out of that by a situation or an occurrence or an event that pulls me away, or puts me in that disapproval or that judgmental mind, this pulls me out of balance.
There was a spider that just came down right here, right in front of me. I'm like, what the heck is that? Yeah, there's always going to be people judging us. That's why I'm not so judgmental on myself. I figure there's always going to be people judging me. I don't have to. Our next card brings us to the Hanged Man, and the Hanged Man symbolizes surrender, perspective, and sacrifice. When you hear the word sacrifice, what comes to your mind?
I would have to say that not having my own ambition get in the way of the collective, so I would have to sacrifice happiness or income in order to be in the collective. What I want or what I think or what my idea isn't as always the most important as it is the collective, what everybody needs, the good of all.
Yeah. Everybody is commenting. Play Love Remember says, if I catch myself judging, I think that could have been me in another life. I try to put myself in other people's shoes. My grandma taught me that, the golden rule, what you were talking about, things we were raised with. Do they even teach the golden rule anymore?
I know.
Do unto others, that type of thing. But yeah. The Death card represents transformation, endings, and rebirth. Now, normally I would talk about change and transformation here, but no, I'm going to ask you about spirit work because I do a lot of work with ancestors. I'd like to hear about your practice with spirit.
I like the word rebirth and transformation. And the opposite of death is not life. The opposite of death is birth. And life is continuous. It's ongoing and always consistent. And it's an energetic force. It's a divine force. And where that divine force is birthed with each human, And we live this life with that divine essence and that life inside of us. That's what gives us breath. That's what gives us animation. It gives us more than that. And then when the end of this incarnation, we continue to live, but in a different form, in a different sense. And it's only a short time that we're here in this vibration, and the ability to have a um, divine soul's vibration and essence inside of a human experience, and to collaborate together and live on this earth as a dual type of energy is just fascinating. um, I do want to know, and I say that we'll all be on the other side, and we'll be high-fiving each other. I knew that was you. Like we'll recognize each other, we'll know each other, and we'll be living again. We'll not again, but living continuously. We'll carry on. Um, it's just fascinating. This is only like a small blip. They say, like, 20 years of human life is like a split second, and that there is no time on the other side. So when our loved one passes away and is on the other side, and it's almost like at the next moment you pop over there, where it may have been 20 or 30 years before you did, because it's so slow, and the time is here, and the experience of time, but over there it's just a moment. So this is also why they don't miss us, because they're always with us, but they know that we'll be there
That's
in
beautiful.
time. Mhm.
That is beautiful. My family, some of them I didn't have a good relationship with until after they passed. My dad, I came from an abusive household. He wasn't thrilled that he had a gay son and a gay daughter. But after, when he started getting sick and we started connecting, it laid the groundwork for healing on both our parts. And now I feel my ancestors around me a lot, especially when I'm doing ancestor readings, because they're interceding with the other person's ancestors. I don't talk to the ancestors directly. It's like a game of telephone for me. I value anybody who pays respect and homage to the ancestors. This is energy that came before us to guide us. An interesting thing I do in my practice is, one of my meditations is giving myself advice. And what I mean by that is, if I'm having trouble with a certain situation in the past, I'll meditate on it and send my energy and my consciousness back to try to give myself advice on how to deal with things. I'm working under the assumption that in another reality, everything is working out kosher in that aspect. I don't want to get off on that. That's a whole nother box of
The time
monkey hair.
aspect. Yeah. Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
So we've got Temperance, which embodies balance, moderation, and harmony. This is the Alchemy card. What is the hardest thing to balance inside of you spiritually?
Honestly, it's walking my talk. I say, I can say that I'm connecting to high vibrational beings, and I'm in meditation, and then I'll walk outside, out on the deck, and I'll scream at the neighbor's dog to stop barking, and then I'll come back in and continue meditation. That's not, I mean, you can't, it's really hard to be consistent. And it's this balance of the ego and analytical mind, and the way that we've been conditioned growing up, and this new ability to connect to, a higher vibrational type of energy. It's really hard to balance, but it's something that I strive to do each and every day, each and every choice, and with every person that I connect with. It's
That's
not easy.
that is a big thing, walking the walk. I know exactly what you're talking about. Um, I'm always conscious of being out in public and running into a client and having them see me acting a certain way or something, watching me lose my shit at the traffic going on around me and looking to the side and have it be one of my clients. That's my biggest fear. I want to be a guiding light, but balancing the fire and emotion is where the temperance is. So I get what you're talking about. The devil card symbolizes temptation, materialism, and control. I have two questions. One, do you think you're a controlling type person? And two, what controls you that you wish didn't?
I like the way I like things the way that I like them. But so, and I like to foresee, and I have like boundaries, and I like to practice that. I do enjoy being a leader in the sense that I have more control over, how things go and how things transpire. And but I also like to be in this position, in the, the one who's not leading, and the one who's asked the questions. So in the sense that I like to be in control, what this brings up is the thermostat in the house. My husband likes it very cool. I like it very warm. And we fight over 1 degree. He says, don't put it over this number. I like it this number. And I say, let me just warm up the house. Let me just cool down the house. And then I'll put it back to the number we agreed on. I'm fine, but I don't want to freeze all day because we're not at that number. Warm it up and then I'll be fine. And we can keep it at that. It's just the way the house, but I'm telling you, it is about control, but it's
Yeah.
also about comfort, but that kind of thing. And what controls me is my emotions, you know, um, and learning how to rise above and to have like this perspective, and to work through them. But when you hear a song, or you see something that just puts that lump in your throat and you just want to cry, um, these things, and emotions are part of being human. It's part of the ego. um yeah, and that's what kind of controls me. And I think that learning to be understanding and fluid with feeling the fear, feeling the anger, feeling the disappointment, and working through it and getting to the other side of it is important. Mhm.
What you said about the temperature, that goes on in my house. We had to get a portable air conditioner because he likes it so cold. And so I've given up. We've been together 25 years, and now I just wear a parka. No, I'm serious. I wear a hoodie and sweatpants and a blanket to watch TV, and he's there in a tank top and shorts. So I get what you're saying. I lost that battle a long time ago. Uh, to the Tower card, not the tarot card. The Tower card represents upheaval, sudden change, and revelation. Now, what you had said about your job situation forcing you into, or giving you the opportunity, can you name another situation where upheaval may have led to prosperity for you?
Mm. Yeah. I moved away from the town where I grew up when I got married, and we moved here to Maryland for my husband's job. And talk about upheaval. That's changing your roots and everything that you know, everybody that you know, everything that you know, and starting over again
Mm.
in a place where you don't know where to drive to the store, or not knowing anything about it was a hurdle and an experience and an evolution that led me to be able to be who I am and what I don't know how to explain it. When people around you reflect back to you their opinion about you every day, you don't tend to be other than, or it's not easy to be somebody other than what their opinion of you is. And this allowed me to become who I am without other people's judgment. And it was just a blessing in disguise for sure.
I want to throw this out there. I worry about. I used to be very arrogant when I was younger. I had a much better body. I was a bartender in gay bars. I had guys hitting me out. I looked good. I was young. Um, I don't want to be that arrogant person again. So I take steps to balance myself now. Yes, I get a lot of positive feedback in the community, but then I go and watch channels on YouTube about YouTubers' downfall. And I remind myself, don't follow their example, remember why you
Hmm.
do this, help people.
Hmm.
Um, So next up, we've got the Star card. This is one of my favorite cards. This is hope, inspiration, renewal, and direction. When I want to hear about more when the idea struck you to become SunPsychic Gene. Um,
Hmm.
how did you settle on the name? First of all, let's start there.
Hmm. Well, I didn't decide to be Sun Psychic Gene. I
Oh,
am
let
Sun
me
Psychic
rephrase.
Gene.
Poor choice of words on my part. I
Yeah,
apologize.
that's okay. I'm just wondering. I could not help but
But
express as Sun Psychic Gene. And I am very much driven by the sun. My favorite day is June 21st. I always take that same week for vacation. It's the longest day. I love being outside until like 9 or 9:30. I remember when I was young, my mom would call us in and say, "You have to go to bed." I'm like, "But it's still daylight out." And she's like, "But it's 9 o'clock." And I didn't understand. So now when I vacation, I want the days to be as long. I love being on the beach like at 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m. and still having that evening sun, and where it's still warm but you're sunburned. It's so delicious. And I conversely, December and from Thanksgiving on, it's very challenging for me because I feel this like down, or this
Mhm.
reduction, or this lowering of the energy, and it's that sunlight that I don't feel, but it's the ebb and the flow. It's that change in the energy. And like I said, I love to sleep, so that in the wintertime I sleep a lot more because it's dark at dark 30, like 4 o'clock. It's dark here, and people tell me in like England and other places over there that it's really dark most of the time. I'm like, you're kidding me. So I love the sun. Everybody knows I love the sun. I um, am very much energized by the sun. I talk to the sun. The sun talks to me. Everything about the sun. So that's why I'm sun psychic.
I'm Leo. Leo is ruled by the sun, so I get solar energy. It is healing. Um,
Hmm.
I I just am seeing the connection between sun and the star, and you being giving direction to a lot of people. That's why Selena, Ramon, and I do Behind the Moon, is to help answer questions. We're not telling people what to do. We're showing people what's available and what's possible to help give direction. And you, as a messenger, help provide that direction. And it's amazing. Now, the moon is our next card. This is illusion, dreams, and the subconscious. Are you a dreamer?
I am not, surprisingly. I might remember 2 or 3 dreams a year that I can remember. I do know that I dream. I have woken up and felt, some sort of an extreme emotion, knowing that I was dreaming.
Mm,
Um, but a lot of psychics, and I wish I had that uh, ability, but I really don't. Some people really have prophetic dreams, or
I-
you know, just I don't. I'm not. I'm it is something I don't feel I'm lacking. I feel like I just don't recall. Like I think that if I had some sort of, in a hypnosis, I would be able to remember more. But I am interested in astral traveling and doing stuff like that. Hmm.
that's one of my studies right now is trying to get past a block I have with astral traveling. The thought of floating in space terrifies me. Even watching space movies gets me. Floating
Wow.
free, it bothers me. So, but if I do it in animal form, I don't have a problem. So if I leave my body as a dog, or if I leave my body as a raven, no problem. But if I try to do it and visualize myself physically, no, it terrifies me. Let's see what's going on in chat real quick. Chris, here comes the sun. Yeah. Great movie, by the way, Sergeant Pepper's. I'm going to watch that this weekend. The sun happens to be our next card, and this embodies joy, success, and vitality. Um, what would you say brings you the most joy that you are?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, Connecting to the other side is that unconditional love and the amazing experiences that you can have that is outside of this realm. Touching other realms is really just very inspiring, and brings me such hope and expands my awareness, and empowers me, and it's really something that is brings me so much joy, so much motivation, to keep moving forward, and the curiosity. It never gets old when you connect with spirit and loved ones and get that validation and get that instant connection. It really gives you a purpose for being here, an understanding of who you are, and a contentment. It's that I said that before. That's really, really important for me to understand my place here, is that contentment.
Um, that's a good word, contentment. I love that. It implies harmony and balance. I love that. So we are so close to our final card. We've got 2 more. We've got the Judgment card is up now. And the Judgment card symbolizes rebirth, judgment, and an inner calling. This is transformational energy. Where do you see yourself? What do you see yourself evolving into later on, as the process continues? How would you like to evolve? Do you have any preconceived notions that you'd like to focus on? What is your spiritual goal, so to speak?
I think um, improving my abilities, and uh, maybe talking to more people in a live format. Um, yeah, because it's not easy talking to people here and connecting to people here, But there is a certain comfort level that I'm sitting in this beautiful chair with a beautiful pillow behind me and the climate that I like, that I can, as soon as I'm done, I can, but being in the public, I think, is probably where I will be expanding into. Mhm. And learning to be a little more comfortable and a little more fluid in that area.
Comfort is an issue I think a lot of us deal with. I've got a lot of friends around the world, as we all do in the community, who have said the same thing to me about um, imposter syndrome, that people who have been doing this professionally, deck creators, when they go to conventions, I had one friend tell me that he was in the bathroom freaking out. He looks over and the next speaker after him was in there freaking out. So it's something we all go through. And he was saying, because I told him, I feel this way. And he says, dude, don't worry about it. We all do. I have no preconceived ideas about what I'm becoming, but I know I'm becoming something else. And I'm interested to see what it's going to be.
And I remember,
stay tuned,
sorry.
people, is all I was going to say. You remember what?
The reading that you asked me, we were on Ginger Faye's channel. If anybody wants to check that out, and Bobby asked a question, and I saw such a bright light around you, and I had to tell you that more is coming, more is there, and that you are filled with enlightenment, that there is a light shining on you and coming through you, that you need to trust that, step out of your own way, and to allow that to transpire in whatever way comes natural to you, because of that beautiful, I mean, I never saw anybody with so much light around them as you do, Bobby. There's a reason and a vibration that you're here to share and to convey. And I loved, I was really surprised at how much light I saw around you. It was very, very inspiring. And please go back and listen to that. Hopefully you have that and you've listened to that over and over again. And it's really, really true. There is a purpose, there is a reason, and there is a light that is coming through you. Mhm.
Thank you so much. I'd like to say that I've been giving opportunity to shine, and it's up to me to step into it now. I don't want
Mhm.
to disappoint my gods. I don't want to disappoint the people who I haven't met yet.
But the only person you can disappoint is yourself.
I realized as soon as I said it, that was probably not the best way. I would like to be as prepared as I can be. And I know I'm not going to be prepared for everything, but
Trust, allow.
you choked me up there, Gene. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to our final card of the evening. Woo, I need some sound effects like Gerald has. Woo.
I know.
The World card. And the World card symbolizes completion, achievement, and fulfillment. It's also Saturn energy. It's restrictive, but pulling in to give birth to something else. What is next for SunPsychic Gene?
I would say continuing, refining, teaching, evolving, and allowing for the evolution of whatever capacity that I'm here to be in to occur. So, not to have a control or an expectation to the outcome, but allowing whatever is in the highest good for everyone concerned to transpire, and for me to be, strong enough or prepared, not prepared, but open enough to allow the flow to occur. That's what I want to do, is just be in my flow, work in my flow.
I love the openness you have to universal energy. You're a conduit. And I appreciate that more than you know. The world needs more people like you in it. I'm sorry, my computer is blowing up. Apparently, there's a psychic fair I'm being invited to, and everybody who's part of it is emailing me at the same time. Yeah, Jean, I want to thank you for taking this walk down the Fool's Journey with me. I'm going to open the floor now to anybody who may have a question that you'd like to ask while I ask Jean what she has coming up now. If you have a question, please post it. Jean, what do you have coming up?
Well, immediately later today at 4:30 Eastern is Beyond with Terry Suzuki from oh gosh, Higuru Spiritual Journeys, and Terry Lee from Pure Visionary Psychic Medium. We are the Psychic Triad, and this is our Friday Psychic Triad show. And tomorrow I'll be on with Mark the Spirit Whisperer. And I also have a members only live tomorrow, and that's at 4 p.m. And if anybody has not signed up to be a member, if you sign up today, you can attend the live tomorrow. And this is a membership. There's all different offerings on there. You can just hit that little join button to read all about it. You don't have to join. But if you do, you can be in the members live tomorrow. I'm excited about that because it's such a beautiful, not controlled, but protected. You're not just out in the ethers, and it's so much fun that interacting with everybody on a one-on-one basis. I enjoy that. And then, of course, the chakra class that's coming up on the 31st. I don't know if you want me to bring that up again.
Sure. Let's go ahead and put that up. Share this. There it is.
And it's the chakra healing workshop. That means that you'll be able to learn and experience the healing. And it's Saturday the 31st, 12 noon Pacific and 3 Eastern. It's about 2 hours long. It's $25 per person. And Terry from Holding Your Space is going to be presenting it with me. And if you want to register, you can just contact sunpsychicjean.com on my contact page and just say chakra healing workshop, whatever you want to say, and I'll send you the info from there. But it's going to be lots of fun. It's going to be very collaborative, and I'm really excited about it. May 31st. Oops, I think you're muted.
I have a habit of doing that. Selena's always getting on my butt about that. Yes, thank you again for being here, taking this journey with us. Let me double check to see if there's any questions. No, Selena is posting your channel. Make sure I see that, Selena. Thank you. She says, you're muted. Yes, I know. Again. Yeah, I don't see anything. Okay. Yes, so make sure you subscribe to both our channels. Again, everybody, thank you for being here. Jane, stick around. We'll talk backstage. And I will see you guys tomorrow with Elizabeth from The More Intuitive Me on Behind the Cards. Bye-bye.